Good evening, and welcome back to the Last Begotten channel. Thank you for joining me. My wife is at the neighbor's drinking some wine, and I'm still waiting on the lower lights to turn on. As soon as they do, we will be filming the happy couple. It does appear as though Like I've had it covered for most of the day, so I've taken it off so that they're having kind of like a nice slow morning, right? I don't have ramp up on the bottom lights. Um, but it appears as though little man, from what I can see in the dim light that he's got now, that he's doing okay. Um, Certainly no worsening of his condition. Um, the few times that I did peek in there while they were sleeping, it seemed like they were sleeping nice and close together and not bothering each other. So that's a really good sign right there. Um, Anyways, it's going to be a couple of minutes before they get turned on. So let me set this up for y'all, maybe. Let's see, does that work? Yeah, good enough. Alright, well, how about y'all listen to some music for a second? And I'm going to go work on dinner while we wait for the fish porn to start. Okay, so thanks once again for joining me here at the Lost Begotten channel. I am your host, of course, Fake TV's the actual Lost Begotten. And today I'm going to do a special little previewing of a movie from Magna. And I've been working on it in the editor over there, and I was talking yesterday about, should I upload it on here, or should I wait and make a new channel and upload it on there? And I think what I can do is play it in here while we're waiting on the lights. So I'm swapping it onto my camcorder's SD card right now from the computer in the back that has the movie editor on it, and gonna bring it in here in just a couple minutes, so stay tuned for that. And then of course we will be on day 3, part 4, day 3 of the premium Picasso patterning process, because you know, alliteration helps breed clownfish or something. Alright, come on, you little fucker. I am hobbling around with a cane right now. The middle of my spine is all swollen. Not much I can do about that, so I'm just trying to keep the pressure off of it, and it's not fucking working. But I got shit to do, so. Alright. Are you gonna open a folder, or do I gotta open the folder? Apparently I gotta open the folder. Oh, there it goes. It opened. Oh, it opened Play Home. I didn't want you to open Play Home. Fucking shit. Just open the damn folder. Dum dum dum. Okay. And now I shall move this over to here. Hey, look, there it is. You can see it. That's the file. I am now copying the file. I am now being hacked for the file. So as soon as that's copied over, we shall see what I'm all pleased with myself about. I have like a couple of edits left to do. There's going to be one part where it's silent, and there's going to be one part where it gets the sound cuts in too quickly. That's due to it just being wrong. I hit undo not enough times, I think. I thought I had hit undo enough times, and then I proceeded as normal, and I didn't realize that there was some stuff that was still fucked up, basically, and it takes like 3 hours just to compile the video after you're done editing it, so I gotta go in there and do 2 little edits and then recompile it, and then that version is gonna go on my new channel, or a new channel that I will be involved with. Yeah, something like that. But that's gonna be a non-political, purely fish-oriented channel. Ooh, it's ready. So, without any further ado, or at least minimal further ado, Machna. Well, we are here at Machna. Escalator ride. Hello, Murphy. I know, baby, no, I can't stop loving you. I can't, baby, no, can't stop loving you. I can't stop loving you. Back up, back up. One thing I was not expecting.
Isn't that the guy who bought bricks?
Oh, hey. Yeah, that's him.
So, Sean just took off because he saw somebody he knew. And one thing that we were definitely not expecting was to see a Ferrari. That is so cool. I'm sexy. Sexy Ferrari.
little tiny baby. Oh, look how cute. Oh my goodness. Little baby coral beauty. Oh, little baby. I've never seen one that small.
Be loving man, I can't stop loving you. No, 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 can't stop loving you. No, no, baby, no. I said no, honey, darling, no, I can't stop loving you.
Oh, he's cool.
Oh, what I say now, Sean? I said no, baby, I can't stop loving you. Here we go, take me out. No, 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 I can't stop loving you. Are you coming? No, 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 I can't stop loving you. Oh, no, no, I can't stop loving you.
Oh, it's the bounce mushrooms. Oh, cool. I haven't seen them. What are the bounces going for? 600 to...
I'm coming to you, baby, with some wholehearted news. I got the cold-hearted blues. Cold-hearted blues. Cold-hearted blues.
That's cool. This new light spectrum.
Grow cell. So basically,
to the grow powder.
yeah, basically the particulate.
It's doing what I wanted the grow powder to do.
right.
Basically.
It stays in the thing. It doesn't actually dissolve. I can keep this in here for a day, and it won't dissolve.
Not today, but I'll be buying some of that.
Yeah, you know what it is there was a question how much money it is. For Reef cell, we created this micro-encapsulated food. And the thing is, it's neutrally buoyant. It can stay in the water for like hours, days. It's actually, it's dissolving. It's soluble in digestive fluid, but not in water. And it's neutrally buoyant. So we've been using this for corals.
Really?
And then for larger, we got some larger particulates for the Amphius and things like that, you know, ones that are very hard to feed.
Right.
So it's the same particulate concept as the small one, but it's larger grains. So Amphius can eat it, but it's also neutrally buoyant, it doesn't dissolve.
It looks like a good starter golden pearl to me.
Yeah, it's basically, it's a microencapsulation is the similar process.
Okay.
It's a matrix of alginate with particulate.
But it's from New Life Spectrum, so it's got the best nutrition. Yeah.
And so the thing is the grow cell, we decided to extend that concept to the basically the powder. Now we still sell this because this is more expensive. The microencapsulation is quite a bit.
How much does it run?
This one runs
Just curious.
About twice as much. Twice as much in freezer.
I'm coming to you, baby, with some more to do.
Used to the varying prices of vanilla ice. This is one of the parts that's supposed to be cut. This whole part is supposed to be just this little Indian block right there. Right. All kinds of fish coming out. All kinds of fish zoom in on the display.
So for 15 grams, it's $8, and for 40 grams, it's
I'll upload this whole thing.
Yeah, but if you compare that to like 60 grams of fry powder for $7.20, it's more, right? So, yeah, about twice.
But
it's
you're
a
not going to be
specialty.
wasting much of it.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
thing.
It's a specialty thing. So
This
we-
winds up, 90% of this gets siphoned off the bottom.
Right.
Okay? So there you go.
Yeah.
It's going to wind up being a more economical.
Let me put it to you this way. This one goes really mean, like frozen fish. But the one kind of slight disadvantage that it does have is that when you're feeding them cooked foods, basically a lot of the gut flora and flora that exists in the diet is eliminated as you cook it. Now overall, it's like a 90% better, 10% disadvantage. Right? But what this probiotic is that, yes, for things like copper too, but overall, it kind of takes care of that 10% disadvantage. Plus, we've done something a little bit extra to it. So this, our blend of probiotics, not only has gut probiotics, but it actually has probiotics that feed on phosphate.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Hey, stop making faces at me. I'm sensitive.
Well, turn around. Okay, you had one shot, he said.
He got his exercise for the day, huh?
It don't take much.
That's true, doesn't it? She knows how to careful these. Oh, come on. What the heck? Paparazzi.
Yeah.
Oh, the fans are here. If you really want to take coloration seriously, this is the kind of stuff that you need to get.
Yes.
You can waste your time. I've wasted my time for 30 years on over-the-counter tests, and I've never really felt like I've been getting accurate results. I can't wait to be able to afford that kind of service one day.
Well, we have the most affordable testing price.
It does look like a very competitive price, though. It's a subscription service for 6 months.
That's only for this weekend at the show.
And that's
Otherwise, we're
that's
not
your
doing
special.
a subscription. This is our normal prices.
Here's your normal prices. So I guess you have to come to a Magna to get the special treatment. But
I had a feeling you got on
good.
just in time to see that yellow puffer. That's what you're talking about? Or was it the heel? I had like a flash of you seeing it right as the yellow puffer was on there. And, glad you could make it, Joey. Share the link on Twitter if you don't mind. Or wherever the hell you can share it. Facebook, wherever. And whoever else is watching, please share the video. Share the videos. Share all the videos. Please. Please. So this video and the full versions of all these interviews that I read the Aquarium those are all going to be
baby platinum. Looks like something bit his tail.
Also going to be watching a channel that's going to focus specifically on training people how to set up your Percula and manage a supplement store/aquarium, as well as sales training for sales staff, for staff. Bingo, go on. Sales training for fish stores.
What's up, Mr. Saltwater Tank? So,
I want to do another channel just for fish stores.
SA as an affiliate,
The universal value of those
they have managed to successfully breed
appreciated for what they are.
conspicuous angels, which are not only a rare angelfish and kind of a pain in the ass to
But
begin
if
with.
I'm centered there,
They breed them. They're incredible. Look how many.
I'm
Look at all the babies. Oh my goodness. Look at all the babies. Oh, the babies everywhere. I breed fish, so I know just how hard this works. Oh.
Yeah, so it's just really fine stuff. Different size. But it's just a really easy and handy way of doing it, getting them to the This is it's PE mysis.
Oh, that's
Just run it over a cheese grater.
Freeze dried?
Get the frozen.
frozen. Oh, really?
check those out.
Yep.
Huh. Good idea.
So the conspicuous angelfish eating.
Singapore Angels.
Yeah. There you go. Oh my. Oh, they're so tiny. Oh.
That's a Plula.
Those are
This is
conspicuous
actually considered
angels.
a bonded pair. So actually at settlement, we isolate them in 20-gallon tanks so it works that hierarchy. Male and female. They are protected from hermaphrodites. So a lot of people like keeping more than one together because it's like impossible to put their mouths out there. They're not small enough that you can't get the right size. What's that?
Layla won that, mommy was and then won this hat.
That is amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Put yourself on a bulk supply booth yet?
I have like a living room. I have
It's
culture
fixed.
facility.
Eating conspicuous. Where are you? Yeah, which is why these are nice to meet you. Cool. Where are you guys?
So did you do this, or did you just run the people?
No, I do it.
You did it?
Yeah. I used to live in Bell Reef.
Gotcha.
What's your name?
It's Matt Whitman.
Matt, okay, yeah, you used to work at this lab. Got you to Roy. We do a lot with Roy.
Oh, cool.
It's like I'm not even worthy. I'm just a Percula breeder. You know?
Oh, what?
I just breed true Perculas.
Oh, that's awesome. The whole project is, I got my first bench fix 4 years ago, so it's been,
That was quick. I mean,
it didn't feel quick.
oh, I'm sure. But I mean, really, you got pretty lucky there. They came in from the wild as a mated pair?
What's that?
They came in from the wild as a mated pair?
No. And that's what makes it so hard is, there's only a few conspicuous that come out of the wild.
Right.
You're trying to find two that get along.
I'm telling you.
But, so the conflicts, the ones that come in, like they're spoken for, so even just trying to get one or two from the wholesalers to make a pair, it's really challenging.
It's amazing.
Since they're not sexually dimorphic, you can't tell the boys from the girls.
Right.
It's pretty challenging. So you got to go through a lot of individuals to figure out that magic pair. They finally got it.
Get about 5 to 7 of them, throw them in his tank, and see which ones get along.
It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
Because once you have like a big group, it throws their whole social structure.
Oh wow.
Crazy.
That's incredible.
My favorite angel.
Really?
You know what? Like these Singapores live.
We spring in.
I could just sit here and film these guys all day.
One of the biggest problems with Singapore is
Don't you know you love them, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine.
There's the man. DRS TV guy.
So 2017 Magna, how's it going, guys? We are live right now.
It's a YouTuber filming another YouTuber. The universe is gonna implode. Okay, so allegedly, this real reef rock is different than the one DRS TV says. So, what exactly makes this different or better? That is cool. Sand waterfall. And of course, you see this, you gotta go around the other side. Check it out. This is the place to be right here. And everybody knows.
I got none in the box.
That day, you remember in New York?
I got a DJ.
I said the Yeezys that I got, the Zebra,
Yeah.
I had to walk out the back door because the people outside.
Yes, they
I don't know if I'm cool enough to do it.
I'm trying to not lose my cool, but it's a coming and I can't stop deep inside, but it's coming, baby, and you can't hide. I'm trying to find you where some baby.
A lot of this is fast forward.
Around
You'll be
here.
able to
Come
eventually
on,
see
girl,
the full slow
come
down
to
and get a
me.
little better look at
I
the
want you, baby, more than you can see. I'm
on the new channel.
coming hard. It's a coming, baby. You can't stop. Baby, can't stop loving you. I know, baby, no, I can't stop loving you.
So what I'm starting to realize is there is more crap here that I could possibly keep track of or catalog. This is absolute insanity. I mean, I'm still looking for Tidal Garden. But like, crazy. And they're everywhere. There's 50 different guys with just better frags than anybody could see tonight. That's a nice piece.
Hello there.
That's good.
Oh, and the that looks like a bunch of stuff I gave away once.
I like that fish. Right? I'm loving the fish. Where'd y'all get that from?
Here, I'm tired of getting headaches every time I put my hand in my tank.
The last,
Yeah, down on like the last all over. About this, it would be in this type of area.
like literally this out.
It's like a new strain of jawbreaker. Usually they don't have all that red orange face, because you like it stuff. That's like the original. These just come already like
Yeah, yep, I got all that. And tomorrow.
What is this little purpley rosy looking Monty?
I know, but you can have it. You can have it.
I have some. I already have it. Sorry. Oh, so you don't know? You don't know what that is?
That's his tank.
I'm teasing them.
They may know.
Slacking on the species identification. I know. Oh yeah, I got one of those I rescued from somebody. I don't know what the hell that is either. I got one. I got one of those and I got one of those. I don't know what they are. But they're doing okay. This was RTNing when I got it. And I basically had to keep on moving it until I found the right light for it. And then it stopped RTNing. This is cool. Oh, I like the price tags. That's cool.
Thanks, man. That'll make things easier.
I'll remember that one day when I set up my own store.
Oh, yeah.
I can't, baby, no, can't stop loving you. I can't stop loving you. People go, they keep running, but they're running too slow. I'm unkind, I know why. Smoke the shit, man, to get real high. Here I'm trying to find you, babe, on a plane of away. I'm crying in the rain, but it's hard to see my pain through.
Alright, So here I have the guys who made my wonderful new protein skimmer that solved all my problems with my 100 fish in 70 gallons growing out clownfish. And their little skimmer cleared up those waters. And they have these new isolation boxes I've been thinking about trying to grow out. And all kinds of these. What y'all got here?
Dry raw, $1.50 a pound.
$1.50 a pound. So that's just some cool stuff. That is so sweet. Oh, it's just painful. We had to come so broke, didn't we? So broke. We have PowerShell wedding. We have PowerShell wedding day. Oh, those little fairy nudibranchs. Those things. I'm the only one who does.
Yeah.
I'm the only fish breeder I know of. Every time I talk to somebody, they say, "Oh, I tried that once, couldn't get it to survive." I have nothing but super. Yeah, I'm trying to eventually get a store. I got a business plan together and everything.
It's a lot to go with.
I got 2 kids.
Oh, yeah. Are they in the hobby? They help you open it? Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, really?
It's possible that human chica could be in that tank right there.
They have such strategy.
You learn.
You were saying that it doesn't matter if you guys
No, I understand.
helped him out with the Absolutely.
We got tomatoes. They have tomatoes. We have a ton of tomatoes.
Okay, so this is the man. These are his products. That he's an inventor and a working man, not a salesperson. So you're just gonna have to figure out how damn good they are for yourself. Okay, so how long have you been doing this?
I've been keeping fish tanks for about 20 years. I've been doing this here for about 3-4 years now.
3 or 4 years?
I've got a big fish tank in my house, and that's why I got into these.
And what's your manufacturing process?
Machine it all.
You machine it all yourself. How long have you been doing that kind of work?
Years.
Oh, so it's something that you picked up?
We did it out of necessity. I had to build these for my tank. I got 2 of those running on my system.
So he's not a businessman, he's a problem solver. Ah, that sounds like somebody you might want to buy a protein skimmer from. Okay, so there's Rod's food. I got my t-shirt. Talked to the Oro guy, got to shake the BRS guy's hand, got to shake Julian Sprung's hand. Got to meet Than from Tidal Gardens. But even though I did get to unexpectedly meet Mr. Walt Smith, I can't seem to find Bob Finner anywhere, although I'm going to go check by his place real quick. And then we're going to give up and head out because I'm limping around and it's not working and my back hurts and I got to go. All right, we are here with Mr. Walt Smith, Mr. Fiji himself. got any words of wisdom for the kids?
All the kids,
All the kids.
save your reef.
Save your reef. It's good advice.
Share the ocean's mystery.
And share what you know.
Share what you know.
Yes.
Don't be afraid.
And I think Mr. Bob Finners feels the same way. This is one glorious photograph they blew up. Something else.
Okay, so my wife just went next door to drink a glass of wine, and came back with a kitten.
Say that like it's a bad thing.
Well, once again I ask, when was the last time one of the kids cleaned the litter box from the existing female spayed cat that we have, who just shrieked and growled at the cat like she was going to,
But she
I don't
didn't
know,
put her claws
prey
out.
on it. It's because she was on your lap and she loves you, and the whole reason why she hates that is because that means you divide your love.
She doesn't come around me enough to get the love from me that I'm offering to her when she pretended to be my lap cat the first go round.
Well, taunt her with that kitten a couple times, and you might wind up with a lap cat.
Well, good. In another month, when the kitten's old enough to be away from the
But
litter, we'll
it's
try
not
again.
gonna it's not gonna work with that kitten.
Well, if it makes her come in my lap, I still win.
And
Because, you know, Jake just went and asked him.
we have a dog. One pet thing. I don't know.
Well, dinner is done, sweetheart.
But, like, just really.
I'm sorry.
Another mouth to feed and another butt to clean up after, you know?
But it's so cute. And it licked me to death before it fell asleep. It was licking me and fell asleep while it was licking me. Love you.
That must have been a good glass of wine.
She said that it's still our cat. She's gonna reserve it for us for when it's time. And her and Polly tried to follow me back.
See, she knows where her home is.
Uh-huh.
You love me. You love me. You married me. It proves it that you love me.
Yeah. So, back to some music.
He loves me.
Man, it's time to get out of Dodge, and that's what happened.
That was interesting, where you basically posited that Republicans in Congress have been checking him more than maybe people appreciate. And I think there's some, I didn't necessarily completely agree with the call, but there is something to it. Yeah, well, I mean, the most significant piece of legislation that has come out of this Congress is this Russia sanctions bill, basically taking away what would ordinarily be a prerogative of the president, saying we don't trust you to conduct foreign affairs with Russia, and passing by overwhelming bipartisan margins, a thing basically imposing Congress's own foreign policy. And then you've had all these hearings, and I think a lot of liberals look at the hearings and say, well, you know, the Republicans don't ask good questions, some of them are covering for the president, but they don't have to hold these hearings at all. It's a remarkable thing that we're a few months into a Republican administration, the Republican Congress, and the Republican Congress, or at least the Senate committees, the House committees have been kind of embarrassing, the Senate committees have been conducting a serious, damaging investigation to the president, and they don't have to do that. The other part of this, Rebecca, is that you're talking about the sort of personal feud building. The president, he's not inventing it. Like, he really doesn't like these people. Yeah. And they don't really like him. And, like, at a certain level, personality does matter, and it's only going to get worse.
Right, and it feeds what is for him this tremendous martyr complex, his tremendous victim complex. You can hear it in everything that he says. Everyone's after him. I find this moment very terrifying. The Russian investigation circling in, whatever relationships he had with his own party are disintegrating fast, and I think he gets very scary and unpredictable when he's in a corner. And right now, what the setup for him is everyone's after me. He demonizes the media's after me, fake news. My own party, one vote away, my own party gets in the way of doing this thing. We, now who's we? Me and my... This is setting up a narrative where he is the ultimate victim of the witch hunt, which he's been using that phrase for months. He is a witch hunt. He's the victim of the witch hunt. And I think that is setting us up for whatever his view of the next chapter is going to be when it's the whole world against Trump. And I actually think that the departures of Bannon and Gorka from his inner circle going into the outside also supports that. The establishment is emptied of his allies. He alone is there.
Right, so we were talking about this in terms of, like, if everything's going to explode and you get really worried and, you know, I get very concerned. And then I happened to be interviewing Dolores Huerta. Dolores Huerta, just about an hour or so ago. She's got a documentary coming out about her life, supported, actually created by Carlos Santana. And she's 87, has been around the block a long time, right? And so when
Good 5 or so days out before we really could start to see what the impact
Irma
would
time.
be as we go
No.
into the U.S. So still a lot to watch as we continue to see Irma moving off towards the west. The Leeward Islands going to be seeing the greatest impacts right away. We can Gulf, and then an area towards the southeast of Irma. This could be our next tropical depression, a very high chance for it to continue to develop as that's moving off towards the northwest. But of course, all eyes right now on Hurricane Irma, which is situated 490 miles east of the Leeward Islands and is still making a track off towards the west. Wind right now 130 miles per hour and is expected to continue to strengthen as it gets closer toward the Leeward Islands. Winds of 150 miles per hour and continuing a trek towards the northwest. As we get through the 5-day forecast from the National Hurricane Center, that's where you see the greatest uncertainty in the cone here. This is where the center of it is forecast to be, but it could be anywhere to the north and south of that. Again, still a major category 4 hurricane, and then the question is, when does it make a turn to the north? And a lot of the models continue to show it making the same track as the National Hurricane Center, and then making kind of this sharp turn to the north, impacting parts of Florida and continuing to move up the east coast. I do want to show you one of those scenarios. We do have a cold front that's going to be digging towards our area, and as it passes into the Gulf of Mexico, could actually act as a block for moving into the Gulf, and then it continues to make its way up toward the north. That's just one scenario. There's plenty of options that could still play out with Irma, so the important thing is to stay updated. Of course, we'll continue to provide updates as they come in from the National Hurricane Center. Meanwhile, our weather today has just been
The important thing is to keep giving us ratings so we can have high sponsorship input.
Good. There's that cold front. That's what's going to dive towards the south. It will increase our rain chances, but towards
we knew Irma wasn't going to be worth a fuck to begin with as soon as we saw it. We kept on making out like it was going to be something just so you keep watching.
Build up of moisture in the Gulf of Mexico. Some of that could spread further inland, so we do have about a 20 to 30% chance for some afternoon showers, especially as this continues to dig towards the south. Some rain overnight due to the timing of this cold front. Expected to move through overnight Tuesday into Wednesday with some lingering rain chances through the afternoon. Then we get this area of high pressure start to fill in. That means drier and cooler air starts to take over, and we've got a northeasterly flow, so we get away from that Gulf humid moisture and see some nice weather for us as we go through the end of the week. Temperatures throughout the weekend have been pretty warm. Right now they're in the mid to the upper 80s. We've seen some high temperatures today right at 90 degrees. So overnight tonight, still kind of a warm, humid night. Some of the North Shore could see some upper 60s once again, but generally our lows going to start out for your Tuesday in the low to mid 70s. Under a partly cloudy sky, some patchy fog could be possible in a few areas in the morning. Otherwise, we'll see a little bit more cloud cover than what we've been seeing the past several days. A 30% chance for some showers. Otherwise, those temperatures will again climb into the mid-80s to the lower 90s. Check out your 7-day forecast. Our best rain chance going to be early on Wednesday. Then we start to see some of that drier air moving in. We're talking some 50s and 60s possible on the north and south shores, and it's going to be kind of breezy as well, so it could be a little chilly for you to start out your mornings there. With high temperatures only in the low to the mid-80s, we're going to gradually see a slight warming.
Yeah, whatever. He can predict the future. Is Trump trying to have it both ways with dreamers? That depends. Did he rent out another Russian hotel room? Oh!
You can't come. Forget the barriers, tape, and all that water. The biggest roadblock here seems to be communication. Everybody gives us different answers.
Still flooding in
Houston.
Houston.
Up here to help us. They turn us away. They say you can go in. Then we get help up here. Then they say no, you cannot. This is the fourth time we've been here today. Rise a week ago. The city of Houston told them to evacuate voluntarily Friday. Saturday, it became mandatory. When we were rescued in a boat, it was, a solid lake. And we were able to get our cat, my purse, and a change of clothes. And that's all we have to earn. And nobody has cars. We're all so frustrated. But with his one bedroom in the back of a truck...
And it's not that the water will get higher, but it's just going to stay where it is.
Sean Young is bracing for reality. The reservoirs are releasing water that will likely stand here for the next 2 weeks. Parts of the I-10 frontage road in West Houston are impassable. And along Dairy Ashford, first responders have set up shop. Centerpoint cut power to flooded properties Sunday, and floating through it all, dangers to your health and public safety. Learn we have to have masks, we have to have goggles, we have to have dry suits, we have to have wading boots, we have to have gloves. Why don't they give us a list when we're here or tell, we don't have power, we don't have access to all the TVs and the stuff. We have to come here to this boat loading place every day at the mercy of people who've been kind enough to volunteer and help us out. A little communication, she thinks, could clear a lot of this up.
Hi, Emily.
Okay, so guys, back out live. We have one family in Waders hoping to get into a boat and go to their home, but we just listened in. Houston police are not letting anyone who has a flooded home in West Houston access their property, even via boat. In fact, I just got off the phone with police. They say the only people that can go to their homes here in this section of Houston are folks who do not have any water on their property and folks who can drive there on their own. So people are still hopeful. People continue to walk this direction, but Houston police have to put a stop on it. They say it is a public safety risk, and of course there are so many health dangers, unfortunately, associated with West Houston. We're standing for Houston tonight. I'm Melissa Correa, KHOU 11 News.
Yep. How's it going, Emily? Kind of previewing the Macna visit while we keep an eye on the fishies there. As cute as he is, I might try to go get his siblings. I've already emailed the guy at the fish store there. But some show quality fish, I'm thinking I ought to grab up on them while I can. But we'll see. Hopefully he gets back to me. So what's going on with y'all?
Y'all can each have some back. Chicken and fudge one. Sour one, Mom? Fudge one. Dad went to the channel and there's no link to the live stream. That's messed up.
Alright, as you can see, he is finally eating well, breathing slowing down. I think we're out of the critical period, out of the danger zone. He's going to be just fine. And it looks like Tatsuki likes him a little more when he's healthy. Yeah. So that's good.
administration is the Russia crisis. The management handling of that crisis in the White House has been sort of an unusual spectacle to report on. The frenetic pace of the turnover of White House senior staff, the colorful and profane cast of characters who the president has brought in as his various lawyers on the issue. It's been weird and sometimes astonishing to watch in terms of the way this White House has handled this scandal and its fallout already. But when it comes to the more important question, when it comes to the bottom line question, when it comes to how the country is going to determine the way this scandal will end, how the congressional committees will conduct and conclude their investigations, how Congress will react to its own investigations, as well as to whatever we eventually learn from the special counsel investigation at the FBI, that ultimate response, which is the most important thing for the country, that is not going to be determined by what the White House does. And it's not going to be determined by what the press does. It will be determined, in a granular sense, largely by Republicans, especially if it happens soon, while Republicans still control Congress. If you think there are eventually going to be impeachment proceedings, if you think the congressional investigations are going to be consequential and their findings are going to be made known, all that kind of stuff will be decided by the people who run Congress. And at least until the midterm elections, that's congressional Republicans. And that fact, the fact that at least, until January after the next midterms, the fate of this presidency is in the hands of congressional Republicans, that, if nothing else, makes the strain between the White House and elected Republicans not just human drama in Washington. It makes it potentially an existential matter for this presidency. And of all the things that have driven this strain between the president and elected Republicans, the most interesting dynamic, the most persistent and difficult problem for that relationship has turned out to be the president's expression of sympathy for the grievances of white supremacists and neo-Nazis who gathered for a rally and ultimately a riot in Charlottesville, Virginia. The president proclaiming sympathy with their grievances and solidarity with them over their affection for the Confederacy, his declaration that some of those guys were very fine people. That really has been a problem. Reportedly, it has been a problem for some senior White House staff who are working for this president, although you can take that as far as you can throw it, since none of them have actually resigned from the White House or threatened to resign in response to the president's remarks. But congressional Republicans, too, have described this moment, this problem, their discomfort with what the president said. They have described this, sort of sotto voce, as something that really bothered them, something that's made them feel like this presidency, maybe they're not going to go to bat to keep it going, if it comes right down to it. It's been interesting how much of a problem this has been, not just for the president's standing, not just for our soul as a nation, but specifically for his relationship with other Republicans. Here's what makes that supposed revulsion on the part of other Republicans. Those comments from the president being a supposed breaking point. Here's what makes that, at most, a Shakespearean drama. At least a crock, depending on how you look at it. White supremacists and neo-Nazis and white nationalists did not start rebranding themselves as the alt-right because Donald Trump got elected president. They didn't also come into existence because Donald Trump was elected president. The Heil Hitler, let's make a white homeland corner of American white extremism, it didn't suddenly spring out of the toilet it usually lives in because this guy got elected. The white supremacist nightmare edge of American politics, they started rebranding themselves as the alt-right years ago. And I hereby re-up for discussion the fact that well before this president moved on from reality TV, it was the Republican Party in Congress, before Trump, that started to insinuate these guys into otherwise mainstream Republican politics. Don't believe me? Watch this. This is what we did at the time. But we have to start tonight in Montana, at the headquarters of an organization that likes to think of itself as America's think tank for the white nationalist movement. They don't like to say white supremacist, apparently. They like to say white nationalist. They think it sounds better. You can judge for yourself.
Who stands for us? Have you ever wondered, why isn't there an organization that works for us? From African Americans to illegal immigrants, from lesbians to left-handers, every ethnic and interest group has its own lobby or cultural foundation. The exception, of course, is white Americans.
This is the white supremacist the white nationalist think tank group. They call themselves the National Policy Institute. Their slogan, you can see at the top there, for our people, our culture, our future. And when they say our, they are being really, really specific about who they mean.
As long as whites continue to avoid and deny their own racial identity, at a time when almost every other racial and ethnic
Can you make out the
Can
you make out the new little guy? He's the one with the excessive amount of white all over. Good looking little fish. He's eating, he's just acting weird. I don't know. I'll hang at the surface for a little while and then he's fine. Like he was eating up there a minute ago. You see there's some food still up there. But he's still breathing heavier than I'd like him to be. Try and get the salinity back down. Anyway.
Whites will have no chance to resist their dispossession. This is our challenge. This is our calling. Won't you join us?
So if you poke around on the website of the white supremacist, white nationalist think tank, yeah, you can kind of see how they're trying to update the whole racist image. So yeah, some of them are still kind of skinhead-looking guys, but they wear suits, you know, and some of them have hair. But this is an old-school kind of thing. This is, you know, no interbreeding, protect the sanctity of whiteness from the inferior races. It is exactly what you think it is with somewhat improved haircuts. If you dig into the fine print in their online web presence, you'll find that they're not just an online group. They do hold physical conferences and events and things. They also maintain a P.O. box in Whitefish, Montana. And it turns out that that is the exact same address, the exact same P.O. box for this online racist forum. And I saw a bunch of links to this today. We're on the Wayback Machine. I thought maybe it was down, but no, it's all still there. It is called the Alternative Right. And it's an online racist forum. It describes itself as being founded by the won't you join us white power guy who you just saw in the think tank video. This, for example, is their post on Holocaust Remembrance Day this past January. They call it Holocaust Amnesia Day. And under a picture of a pile of dead bodies from the Holocaust, it says, "I can't believe that it's crept up on me again. Today I discovered that today is Holocaust Memorial Day, and I'm fresh out of onions." The author goes on to describe his decidedly mixed feelings about commemorating a supposed historical event. And then he goes on to magnanimously propose that we leave aside for the moment the question of whether this whole Holocaust thing actually happened. So this is the real deal, right? This is Alternative Right, which lives in the same Whitefish, Montana P.O. box as the white supremacist think tank. This resinous, filthy, dank, racist little corner of the internet is relevant and is at the top of the news today because it is suddenly front and center in super mainstream American politics. This Aryan nation's supremacy of the races crock is directly linked to the legislation that finally started getting its big markup in the United States Senate today, after months of buildup. Starting immediately after the presidential election, there was all this talk that the Republican Party was finally going to go along, they were finally going to help see into law reform of our nation's royally screwed up immigration system. The writing was on the wall, right? After losing the presidency again, and losing seats in the House, and losing seats in the Senate, the writing was on the wall. The Republican Party had to get right with Latinos at least, with Latino voters, and the way it was going to do it was by supporting immigration reform, finally. And even though the Beltway narrative is supposedly that Republicans see the light and Republicans support this now, it is really not clear that enough Republicans do support it that it's going to pass. Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III of Alabama introduced 49 separate amendments to the bill today. And that is not because he's trying to help it along. And the most powerful conservative think tank in the country is really, really against him. The Heritage Foundation is leading the conservative opposition to anything getting done to fix the immigration system. And this is where the white supremacist problem comes in. So yesterday it was Dylan Matthews of the Washington Post who looked up the credentials of the people who wrote the anti-immigration reform study for Heritage. And they found that one of the co-authors for the big Heritage study on this issue did his doctoral dissertation on American immigration policy, and specifically on the question of how we should shape our immigration policy to account for the fact that Latinos are so dumb as a race. I'm only barely paraphrasing. The dissertation describes Latino immigrants as generally having an IQ that is, quote, substantially lower than that of the white native population. Quote, immigrants living in the U.S. today do not have the same level of cognitive ability as natives. Quote, no one knows whether Hispanics will ever reach IQ parity with whites, but the prediction that new Hispanic immigrants will have low IQ children and grandchildren is difficult to argue against. So not only are Latinos intellectually inferior to whites, but of course they breed. It's disgusting, right? To be clear, this guy with the thesis that white people are just naturally smarter, he isn't some temp that the Heritage Foundation just bumped into, and it turns out he has this embarrassing past. He has a titled position at the Heritage Foundation. He's a senior policy analyst for the Heritage Foundation. And even as they try to disavow his dissertation as if that's in his student past, that's the one little problem with him. Today we learned, thanks to some digging by Chris Moody at Yahoo News, that this guy's whole record of public output is the same kind of stuff. I mean, here's another bylined article from him. This one's from March 2010. Model minority? Question mark? It's kind of a rhetorical question. You get the implication, right? Quote, Hispanics are in fact substantially more likely than whites to commit serious crimes. These findings are not due to age differences or immigration violations or other statistical artifacts. The reality of Hispanic crime should be one of the many factors we consider when setting immigration policy. That's not from some dissertation that somebody had to dig out of the Harvard Library. That's on the online machine. Specifically, that's on the online machine at alternativeright.com, the place where they're cutting up onions to make themselves fake cry over the fake Holocaust, where Republicans are becoming the party of misspelled burritos, where the Whitefish, Montana post office box lives with this guy, and where the Heritage Foundation's author of its immigration study is expounding on the inherent criminality of these brown people who we really ought to consider keeping out of this country. And when the Heritage Foundation, when the nation's leading conservative think tank, was considering hiring him, his most recent public output, the thing he was doing online the month before Heritage hired him, was writing about the racial inferiority and criminality of Latinos as a group. And this is the world where the Heritage Foundation went to find an author for their study of immigration reform. And wouldn't you know it, it turns out their study concludes that it is a terrible idea to reform immigration because these immigrants, and you know who we mean, these immigrants and their children, and inevitably their grandchildren, everybody in their bloodline, they are low-achieving parasites who will feed on the native-born population, and that will be very expensive. It's not at all fiscally responsible. And we learned all of this today about the character of the opposition to immigration reform in this country. We learned about who is leading the Republican charge against immigration reform on the day that immigration reform finally gets introduced in the Senate. That was our coverage back in May 2013 of the long-standing white supremacist movement in this country rebranding itself as the alt-right, and the Republican Party's willingness to dance with them for political purposes even then. President Trump's kind remarks about the white supremacists among us may be making elected Republicans now proclaim their discomfort, but there is a recent past for Republicans to reckon with on this. A recent past of Republicans and conservative groups like the Heritage Foundation really opening the door to those groups before Donald Trump was even known to be a Republican, let alone a Republican politician. I should also tell you that report, that Hispanics are parasites report, and therefore we shouldn't let them into the country, that report is still, tonight, proudly displayed on the website of the Heritage Foundation. It's still there. We'll be right back.
Good evening, I'm Chris Matthews in Washington. Yes, they're dropping like flies. In only his first 7 months in office, Donald Trump has shed almost all of his senior staff. The result, one of the most chaotic, unstable West Wings in recent history. Take a look at this incredible photo. It's of the men pictured in late January. The only ones that remain in that picture are President Trump and Vice President Pence, constitutional officers. Then there was the firing of James Comey in May. The president himself said that the Russian thing was on his mind. And of course, there was the spectacular implosion of the Mooch, Anthony Scaramucci. His tenure was brief. Of course, his downfall was unforgettable. What does it all mean for the Trump White House? The HR, if you will, chaos paralleled perhaps the governing chaos we've seen. We've got an all-star panel to talk about that tonight. The Wall Street Journal's Eli Stokel, USA Today's Heidi Presblet, and the Roots' Jason Johnson. We begin with Donald Trump's first national security advisor. Remember him? General Michael Flynn was a bombastic attack dog during the campaign. Let's watch and listen. We do not need a reckless president who believes she is above the law. Lock her up.
We need a reckless president who believes he is above the law.
We just need to be single for a while.
A guy who knows this business, if I did a tenth of what she did, I would be in jail today. Well, the irony must have been lost on him. Anyway, hours after Flynn was canned on February 13th, the Washington Post reported the acting attorney general
I just can't name a single crime she ever actually committed.
She believed Michael Flynn had misled senior administration officials about the nature of his communications with the Russian ambassador to the United States and warned that the national security advisor was potentially vulnerable to Russian blackmail. Remarkably, President Trump defended the man he fired a few days later, spinning his firing as though Flynn had been the victim of the media.
Michael Flynn, General Flynn, is a wonderful man. I think he's been treated very, very unfairly by the media. As I call it, the fake media in many cases. And I think it's really a sad thing that he was treated so badly.
Well, President Trump also said Flynn didn't do anything wrong by reaching out to the Russians prior to the inauguration. Let's watch.
I just want to clarify an important point, I think. Sure. Did you direct Mike Flynn to discuss sanctions with the Russian ambassador prior to your inauguration?
No, I didn't.
And you fired him if the information hadn't leaked out?
No, I fired him because of what he said to Mike Pence. Very simple. Mike was doing his job. He was calling countries and his counterparts. So it certainly would have been okay with me if he did it. I would have directed him to do it if I thought he wasn't doing it. I didn't direct him, but I would have directed him because that's his job.
Why do you think Flynn left? He was fired.
He was fired, and there was a lot of discussion inside about, do we have to fire him? Mike Pence sort of laid the gauntlet down and said, this guy lied to me, I want him out. And there were a lot of people inside the White House who wanted Flynn out anyway because he was one of the bad guys. He was too close to, he's running the NSC. I mean, there was a lot of people.
Political pressure, pure and simple.
Worried about Mike Flynn having that job in the first place. And one common thread
The whole idea that he lied to Pence is a fucking lie itself.
Of a campaign that actually didn't expect to win, didn't expect to have to put a transition together, then suddenly they win, and there's this very hastily thrown together transition. So a lot of people weren't fully vetted the way normal transitions and incoming administrations are going to vet people, and that's why you've had so much turnover just in general in the first several months. But the Flynn was an interesting case.
Half-assed truth is the real reason why nobody trusts the fucking media.
Because, it's always a matter of like pressure on Trump or pressure on the person, whether it comes from the most of the time it comes from the media reporting. Well, this time, in this case, it all came out. Pence took a stand, and the president said, "Okay, I'll do it." And you could hear days later he was sort of regretting that he felt backed into a corner and forced to do this.
What about the acting Attorney General Sally Yates coming out and saying, "Wait a minute, the guy's basically in hostage to the Russians because they know they had talks with him about sanctions, and he's out there denying it."
And that's why all of this is so unbelievable that the administration didn't know these things, and this is why timing is so important when you ask why, Chris. Let's back up a little bit and point out that this came after bombshell reporting about those talks that Flynn was having and that they had to do with sanctions. It is highly unlikely that the administration did not know these things, which were supposedly the premise for Flynn's firing prior to the publishing of that news reporting. It was the news reporting which put sunlight on this and forced the administration into taking those steps. So, we still don't know. We saw the question to the president about whether he directed these talks. Fine, he says he didn't direct them. Did he know about it? That is still something we're going to find out, hopefully, as Bob Mueller's investigation goes on.
Well, you'll be happy to know that he's, the investigation is only ongoing because they're getting more and more to charge him with. Which kind of astounds me as to why he hasn't been impeached yet. But basically, a bunch of people in Congress know that they're going to be charged with crimes too. So they're not eager to act.
I think it's likely he'll flip. I think that what happened with Paul Manafort was a warning to people like Michael Flynn, like, we'll do this to you. We will send FBI guys in the vinyl jackets to your house to make you look bad. But I also think that this was the beginning of what we've seen throughout this entire administration. Yes, there were problems with Flynn. Yes, there were warnings, but it was also a panic move. And even though Trump is regretting it now, and even though he's like, no, I think Michael Flynn's a nice guy, I want him to be covered, I think there were a lot of panic moves in the beginning, because as we've mentioned, I don't think they expected to win. I don't think they thought this was going to be much of a problem. I don't think they expected the press to investigate the way they have, and that's why Michael Flynn is gone.
Well, why did he wait to hear the press announce the fact that there had been this problem with his conversations that he wasn't upfront with the vice president about? Why did he wait even when he found out about that until, well, you take up? Why did he wait till the press reported it? Would you have kept Flynn otherwise?
Yeah, probably. I mean, until something else came out. That's the guy who...
Because he has to protect himself. That's why you can't fire people.
Flynn wasn't the only one having talks.
What?
Well, what we now know is that Flynn wasn't the only one. His son-in-law was also talking to the Russians about a back channel. So
he's a showboat. He's a grandstander. The FBI has been in turmoil. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. Director Comey was very unpopular with most people. I actually thought when I made that decision, and
if you have Comey not
Really?
there, you have him being fired because the president says, I want him off the Russia thing, then it's on the backs of the Senate. Then the Senate has to investigate. Then the public expects them, then the press expects them to be the most aggressive investigators of the situation. So I think in some respects, it was a way of keeping this over on the side. As long as Mueller is working in silence, not talking to the public on a regular basis, it's then not on the pockets and not in the sort of pants of it.
But it's still not in the president's interest that any of this go on. Anyway, in June, the country watched Comey testify before the Senate and excoriate President Trump.
I was honestly concerned that he might lie about the nature of our meeting, and so I thought it really important to document. Quote,
I hope, this is the president speaking, I hope you can see your way clear to letting this go, to letting Flynn go. He is a good guy.
I was hearing the president trying to fix this, and nobody wanted to help. So I will not be doing any time traveling to fix this for everyone. No. Sorry.
I hope you can let this go.
I took it as a direction. I mean, as the President of the United States, with me alone saying, I hope this, I took it as this is what he wants me to do. Now, it's my judgment that I was fired because of the Russia investigation. I was fired in some way to change, or the endeavor was to change the way the Russia investigation was being conducted. The administration then chose to defame me, and more importantly, the FBI, by saying that the organization was in disarray. Those were lies. Plain and simple.
You know, Heidi, every time I think about Mueller, I think about a guy, maybe not a bloodhound, but a pro, a real winner of a guy. Look at his resume. Heading toward anything we see in the media, any news that develops, and somewhat related to this Russian thing, because of that Comey guy. I think it's not just friendship, it's professional, whatever respect. He knows he has to do a 100% job on this.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the longest-serving FBI directors. He was, Congress passed legislation to extend his term.
Okay, first of all, Pence is not worse than Trump. Second of all, Pence is compromised, and so are, dozens of Republicans. The Republicans are as compromised as they used to accuse the Democrats of being socialists. But as far as being worse than Trump, okay. When you hear people describing Kim Jong-un, and you can't for a second tell whether or not they're describing Trump, you got a clear indication that Pence is not worse than Trump.
Because he is considered such a pro. He has impeccable credentials and is trusted by people on both sides of the aisle. And that's why you see so many members. Now we're learning about Mitch McConnell as well, having been pressured by the president pushing back and trying to link arms and introduce legislation right before they left town to make sure that the president would do something while they were out of town to try and push Mueller
Good night.
So the president is still putting his fingers in, trying to mess with that, still complaining to Tom Tillis of North Carolina.
Like he didn't
why are you protecting Mueller? I mean, you can get rid of the guy is implicitly what he's saying. Anyway, we're getting a little lighter moment here. Sean Spicer was next to go. He resigned July 21st. Seems like a long time ago. The day it was announced Anthony Scaramucci was joining the White House as communications director. For months, the Spicer show was must-see TV.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe. You had someone as despicable as Hitler, who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons.
He says it's a ban.
I mean, he's using the words that the media is using.
I understand your point.
It is extreme
The president himself called it a ban.
I understand.
Is he confused or you can...
No, I'm not confused. I think that the words that are being used to describe it are derived from what the media is calling this. He's been very clear that it is extreme betting.
Does the president believe that millions voted illegally in this election?
The president does believe that. He has stated that before. I think he stated his concerns of voter fraud and people voting illegally during the campaign. And he continues to maintain that belief based on studies and evidence that people have presented to him.
What do you think of this guy professionally? Him in there, and he obviously, we all can imagine what goes on. Right. He's in the Oval Office, the president. You tell those people, it was the biggest crowd in history.
There are very few people in this administration I feel sorry for. Sean Spicer was one of them. I had worked with Sean Spicer before. He was a hardworking, legitimate, dedicated Republican. And for him to have to go in and lie on a regular basis, you just got the feeling he came home and would just whip himself in the mirror every single day saying, why do I have to do this? Exactly. And you felt bad for him. But it set a precedent. It set a precedent for what you have to do to be a part of this administration. Your integrity is left at the door. You have to lie for this president. You have to be dedicated to this president. And even when he eventually leaves you out in the rain, you got to smile and say, thank you, give me another.
Well, I've seen him since. So at the train station a couple weeks ago, he looks pretty happy.
A big weight lifted off his shoulders now. That's definitely true of Sean. But you can feel sorry for him if you want, but he chose to go every day. He chose the notoriety, and he chose the infamy that came from his, 6-month tenure on that job. And, that is a difficult job to work for this president.
The first week.
It is, but, I mean, his credibility was shot from day one.
You even got some befuddled about something in that position up here. It's the highest position of a presidential spokesman next to the president. And he's saying that the Nazis didn't use chemical weapons. Well, they used chemicals, certainly. They killed 8 million people, 6 million people. But, he meant they didn't use it in battlefield situations. Okay, but, even that was being watched. And the guy wasn't ready for this onslaught.
You have to wonder if there was just a level of stress underneath it all that would explain making a slip like that. The president.
Why look right? He didn't like his looks.
He was protecting him.
Well, he didn't like his looks.
Well, they were picking.
I'm betting on, what's her name? Hope Hicks is coming eventually. Anyway. Although, Sarah's doing a great job. I think Sarah Sanders, Huckabee Sanders, I think she looks country. She's very much, I think, at ease with that kind of presentation. I think she's probably better for this job. Anyway, our panel, she's the daughter of an Arkansas governor. Anyway, that's pretty country. Our panel sticking with us throughout this hour. Coming up, Mooch Vamoose, Trump's former White House Communications Director, Anthony Scarab.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders, also known as Liar Face.
The Moon Chief thought he'd last, I think, what, beautifully longer than a carton of milk, but he did. He's not only the only colorful figure that's been shown the door so far. Let's not forget
She looks like Rosie O'Donnell's impersonation of a 4-year-old girl lying. That's like what her face always looks like.
Strategist Steve Bannon.
Or was that Mike Warnke's?
Darth Vader. Plus, if you thought this summer was a busy one, get ready for the fall. President Trump's threatening to shut down the government. He doesn't get his wall. And let's not forget about Bob Mueller's Russian investigation. And if Democrats take back the House and the Senate next year, we're about to get of where things stand heading into 2018. Finally, these things will tell me something I don't know. This is hardball for the actions.
Seems to me like it's turning into hardball where the endless jabber is.
Rather than a real trial, that strategy can work, Jill, but it only works before you get into a courtroom where there are rules of evidence and an independent judge. How is that strategy working now if Mueller is already impaneling people and putting them in front of the grand jury and putting people in that Senate?
Let me just say, it's not just that it only works to a certain point. It only works until you have a jury. And a jury will judge things fairly. They really pay attention to the facts. They take their sworn duty very seriously. And I do not for a moment believe that all those people in Times Square who know nothing about what Robert Mueller already knows
seriously
and who are prejudging this would feel the same if they heard the evidence presented to it.
James, what's up,
following
man?
MSNBC and your show, they would know a lot more about what the evidence actually is and about what the obstruction of justice is. It's not, we keep using the word collusion. We're not looking at collusion.
To my knowledge, it's supposed to be there. The need to know info about reality playlist is apparently missing. Somebody else go check and see if it's there.
The obstruction of justice, all of the attempts to mislead the prosecutor, to mislead the public, to evade responsibility for all the unreported meetings. What were those all about? It has to be about something. You don't hide the information if you're not hiding something criminal.
You don't hide your duty unless you're a cat.
And you make such an important point there, which is right. Collusion has been referred to in the political or espionage context, and it's an important lens. But both federal and now state prosecutors are ultimately going to look at whether there were crimes committed of any varying kind. And a conspiracy could be not with Russians. You could conspire with a tech assistant in Alexandria, Virginia, and you'd still have a lot of problems on your hands. This is what we're digging into Mueller's background. Then there's Mueller's relationship with Trump after he became president.
Just putting it somewhere that can surprise you. Talk about hiding. Like ambushing.
The Russian inquiry. The very day before Mueller was publicly named to be special counsel, he actually met with President Trump at the White House, the man he was about to begin investigating at the time. Reportedly, the president said he was thinking about putting Mueller back in that old job as FBI director. That would be a rare Obama appointment that he'd hold over. Now, here's how Trump described this incredibly interesting meeting to the Times.
Did you know Mueller was one of the people this big? I did, actually. He was sitting in that chair. We had a wonderful meeting. Day before. He wanted the job. The day before. Of course, he was up here. Mueller wanted the job. I said, what the hell is this all about? He talked about conflicts. But he was interviewing for the job.
As with so many other Trump-related issues, Malcolm, I'm not going to ask you to comment on the veracity of Trump's claim. There's no actual cognizable legal conflict in having the meeting. Throw that out the window. But there is something weird here. I mean, when I first heard this, I didn't know what to make of it. Bob Mueller obviously doesn't want to do anything that would jeopardize what he knew to be an investigation he was about to start. If he turned down the meeting, that might have been weird, but he took it. What do you think these two men talked about in the Oval Office?
Well, that remains to be seen. Maybe Mueller will put himself on the stand as a witness. I don't know.
intelligence investigation where someone was conspiring with Russian intelligence officers for some purpose. Mueller's entire investigation from beginning to end is more like a torpedo underwater than a direct attack. I think that the Trump administration is clueless about what is going to hit them, and because they don't hear anything from him. And that meeting, taking that meeting could have in fact been an intelligence collection mission as far as he's concerned. This is a man who ran the entire apparatus to determine whether there were, threats to the United States and spies in this country. But Jill, he wouldn't want to gather information in a way that would ultimately taint anything he got, right? I mean, what do you think happened in that meeting?
Can't hear that word without thinking of Nancy Pelosi.
I don't think it matters what happened because I
The
trust
taint.
Mueller enough that I'm sure he was careful not to say or do anything that could possibly jeopardize his investigation. And
let me ask you the corollary. If you were Donald Trump's lawyer, because he has frustrated his lawyers, do you trust him enough not to say anything adverse to his interests in that meeting?
can I answer that honestly?
Please.
Of course I don't. No, I don't. And I think there's a big difference between what Mueller's investigation is and what Congress is doing. Congress must find out what the Russians did. It doesn't matter to me whether anyone from anywhere in America was involved. The fact that Russia is threatening our electoral system, our very foundation of democracy is how we vote and the freedom of the vote. So it's very important that we find out who did what, whether they are Russian or American or Ukrainian, wherever they are, we need to know and we need to be able to protect Americans voting from any possible interference.
Jill and Tim, thank you for joining our special coverage. Malcolm, please stick around. Coming up, we have so much more in this special, including the time that Bob Mueller threatened to resign as FBI director over an illegal spying program under Bush. And his biggest cases including a complex Enron task force that may have clues to how he's pursuing the Russia query. And is it just, as some allege, a fishing expedition? We get multiple views here. Two former federal prosecutors to debate that charge. I'm Ari Melber, and you're watching The Beat on MSNBC.
Flu-like symptoms are so The Russia investigation, which is being overseen by the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, is beyond corrupt, beyond political, and is now turned into an open-ended fishing expedition.
These types of endeavors end up being fishing expeditions. They're very broadly cast nets.
This is a fishing expedition.
You don't think there's a fair investigation?
I don't think it can be.
So is Bob Mueller on a fishing expedition? That's a key argument from the president's allies, that Mueller either has already gone beyond the scope of what he's supposed to investigate or that he will. With me now is former independent counsel Robert Ray. He led the Whitewater investigations of the Clintons succeeding Ken Starr and Harry Lindman, a deputy assistant attorney general and U.S. attorney prosecutor under President Clinton. Now, Harry, you wrote about this saying the question is whether Mueller's conduct is accepted practice, lawful, and good for the country, and framed the answer you wrote isn't controversial, saying Mueller is squarely within bounds. What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't think anyone has said differently. I'm not sure what some of the people who charge fishing expedition mean exactly. But if the question is whether Mueller, in investigating Russian conspiracy, is casting a wide net and is following the evidence where it leads, the answer is yes, of course. That's exactly what he's doing and what he's supposed to be doing. Witnesses are not going to walk in the door and say, we've conspired with Russia. You need to acquire leverage against them. You need to start with the peripheral witnesses and work your way in. And when you develop information that you can use to get a lower up to testify against a higher up, you run with it hard. You acquire leverage and you use it. That's the name of the game. That's the prosecutor's art.
Robert?
I think it's probably too early to say. In some sense, this is an unanswerable question because it's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? I mean,
No, it's not in the eye of the beholder. As you know, there are legal standards and rules. There is authorizing investigative rules for this particular inquiry, which has extra independence because of, according to Donald Trump's own appointed aides, his own DOJ, because he messed up. So that's why we're here. There are rules.
Well, sure, there are rules, and there's a mandate, and then the mandate says to investigate Russia collusion. The secondary part of that is that anything that's directly related to that mandate is within his jurisdiction. And the third part is anything that deals with obstruction of justice, false statements, or perjury is within the mandate. Where the rubber's going to meet the road, though, and it hasn't happened yet, is when we reach, questions about the sort of how far that mandate goes. It's intended to be broad and all-encompassing. It's intended to provide Bob Mueller with sufficient authority to do an investigation as you would in any other ordinary case. But there's also a political dynamic here, too. And while I think, entry into the domain of, let's say, for example, President Trump's finances and the Trump organization may be, at least initially, fair game, the president's probably appropriate to push back without a further expansion of that mandate to go too far down into Trump finances.
So, Harry, let's put up on the screen here the Rosenstein announcement of the mandate so people can see exactly what he said. Links and coordination between the Russian government and those individuals associated with the Trump campaign and the matters that arise from it, as Robert Ray mentions. If someone's investigating that and then somebody threatens a witness or tries to hurt somebody or tries to impede the investigation, those are obviously matters arising. The money question is a big one because there has been more and more evidence that Donald Trump lied about not having deals in Russia when he was seeking them and that his aides sought help directly from the Kremlin for that, Harry. Is that relevant under your plain reading of the Rosenstein language I just showed?
Completely, and I think it's relevant under Robert's reading and under any federal case and under any special counsel or federal prosecution. Look, Robert just mentioned the political dynamic. Mueller's job is exactly to ignore that dynamic. If Mueller comes in with a report next year to Congress that says, well, we found some things, but we ignored others because we wanted to get this in before the midterm elections, or we didn't want to be accused of a fishing expedition, people would take him to task. They'd say, do your job. Your job is to be thorough and get to the bottom of this. This is our only chance to do it. There aren't any do-overs, and Mueller has to go where the evidence leads him.
Robert? Well, that's fair, and that's nice, but that's not reality. Having lived through an investigation with a political dynamic, I can tell you that, yes, your job is to do your job, but you understandably are aware of the fact that you're doing it in a political environment. And if you think for 1 second that I or any responsible special counsel or independent counsel ignored the political environment, I think you're nuts. I mean, you have got to live with the reality of the fact that, for example, on the finances, yes, a full-throttled investigation will necessarily, at least around the edges, deal with the issue of following the money trail. But at some point, if it goes too far, and that's to say within bounds, Bob Mueller would be well advised in the political process to seek further authorization, I think, to go too much further, and that will present a political issue for the administration and for the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein.
Harry, rebuttal?
Of course, but that's what the rules say, and the rules also say for
Harry
Mueller,
rebuttal.
I'm not talking about Rosenstein, for Mueller to ignore the political dynamic, and he plays by the rules. The investigation that Robert's talking about went 6 to 8 years and careened from many different charges, much unrelated to the original Whitewater charge. If Mueller's doing his job right, and everybody agrees he does his job right, he'll put that out of his head, and so far he has.
Right, and it is odd that people around the president have tried to say that the money might be a red line. Indeed, the money is the key. They are going to follow the rules. Robert Ray and Harry Lemon, thank you both for your expertise.
Thanks, Henry. You don't want it.
Coming up next, what happened when Bob Mueller did take on one of the biggest corporate fraud cases in history, and how it might help him now, and Mueller's showdown with his own bosses in the Bush administration, all the way into the Attorney General's hospital room, why he threatened to resign as Bush's FBI director, and Bush changed course. He's the lawyer in charge of the Russia investigation.
Oh, he should go home.
Why?
What's there to investigate?
Out of the Enron verdicts, the men who led Enron to spectacular highs and a dramatic downfall now face very stiff prison sentences after they were convicted in one of the biggest corporate scandals in U.S. history.
Jurors deciding Kenneth Lay was guilty of 6 counts and Jeffrey Skilling of 19 counts, including fraud, conspiracy, and insider trading.
Guilty verdicts for the 2 former chief executives of Enron. That was one of the most complex financial frauds in history back in 2006, and the man who launched the inquiry, Bob Mueller. He informed formed an Enron task force weeks after the energy giant went bankrupt, and it was within his first few months on the job at the FBI. In Enron, there was no smoking gun against top executives. As Bethany McLean explains in her book, The Smartest Guys in the Room, former Enron CEO Skilling told a friend, "You're not going to find one memo where Skilling said F with the numbers. It just isn't there." And that was a challenge. Investigators had to make their case slowly. Instead, they also had to cut key deals with lower-level employees who could provide the evidence that didn't exist in the email record. 2 years after the task force began its work, Mueller and then Deputy Attorney General James Comey announced the charges.
Today's criminal charges are a significant milestone in our efforts to expose and to punish the vast array of criminal conduct related to the collapse of Enron. The charges against Ken Lay, Jeffrey Skilling, and Richard Causey in this superseding indictment take us another step closer to restoring the public's confidence in our financial markets.
The challenge, of course, was turning that complex case with clearly clever defendants into an airtight prosecution. Now, Mueller's lessons from Enron apply to the Russia probe. I'm joined now by Bethany McLean. She wrote that book, The Smartest Guys in the Room, and is a contributing editor with Vanity Fair. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You have been in deep on this, and you knew Mueller back then as a man in charge of something that was going to be very hard to conclude for those reasons. What did you learn about him then, and how do the lessons apply?
Well, he's an incredibly well-respected guy, and one of the things I thought was really interesting is the guy who actually led the Enron task force for a period of time through July 2005 was Andrew Weissman, who had cut his teeth prosecuting mob families at the Eastern District of New York. And one of the first things Mueller did was bring Weissman in. And it was amusing. I ran into a former Enron board member shortly after this, and he looked at me and said, "I almost feel sorry for Donald Trump." Weissman is regarded as a very aggressive and skilled prosecutor. I think in terms of the lessons, I was reading a headline this morning that somebody had just close to Trump had described, or a commentator had described the stuff surrounding Russia as gross but not illegal. And I thought that actually applies to a lot of Enron too, which is a fascinating parallel, is that while people think of Enron as a massive fraud, much of what happened there was gross but not illegal. And so the challenges in some ways are the same, which is finding, we can all look at something and say it might smell bad or it might seem like something wrong happened here, but that doesn't mean it did. Laws are very specific things.
Right, and you mentioned the team and the hiring of Andrew Weissman by Mueller for the new Russia probe as trying to bear down on that. The lack of certain types of incriminating evidence is fascinating. We have seen a kind of a two-track thing going on. One, Donald Trump says stuff in public like, "Hey, Russia, help me hack Hillary's emails," that is worse than what any private email or memo would be. And yet at the same time, he said under oath before that he doesn't keep records, partly for a range of reasons, which may include self-protection.
Do you keep handwritten notes?
No.
I think your daughter told me in her deposition that you don't email, and I observed that that's because you're a very smart person.
Yes, so we've figured that out. Took a lot of people a long time to figure that out. That's right.
But do you make notes? Do you have anything on paper related to this case?
No, I don't.
I wanted to play the direct deposition so you could give us your analysis of it. The idea that the family says it's smart of him not to have records.
Well, he may not have records, but in this digital age, there are going to be a lot more records than there were even in the time of Enron. There are going to be his tweets, which do provide something of a roadmap. There are going to be other people's records, other people's calendars, other people's emails, other people's text messages. So there's going to be an enormous amount of information, which is an opportunity as well as a challenge, right?
Right. Bethany McLean, who has profiled battles that Bob Mueller won against great odds. Thanks for joining our special.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up next, one of the most dramatic moments in Washington history, the showdown between Mueller, Comey, and the president who hired them, George W. Bush, why they threatened to quit, and what happened.
Oh, sushi. If you are not honest, your reputation will suffer, and once lost, a good reputation can never be regained. As the saying goes, if you have integrity, nothing else matters. And if you don't have integrity, nothing else matters.
Bob Mueller on integrity in the 2013 speech there. Many people who work with him say he has it. One of the biggest tests of his career does show why. When the Bush administration was testing its power after 9/11, Mueller was at the FBI. Jim Comey became acting attorney general while John Ashcroft was in the hospital. And Comey determined he couldn't authorize a spying program because it was illegal at the time. And Comey then recounted how the top White House lawyer, Alberto Gonzales, did something lawyers are not supposed to do. He tried to circumvent the law. Gonzales infamously took the fight to the Attorney General's hospital bed. And in one of the most dramatic hearings in Senate history, Comey later recounted how Mueller helped him defend the rule of law and how he placed an emergency call to Bob Mueller asking for armed FBI agents to get Comey's back in that hospital standoff. Mueller ultimately joined Comey in telling Bush they would both resign if that spying program was not changed to follow the law, and the president ultimately reformed the program.
Wow.
So I raced to the hospital room,
I had no idea about that.
and Mrs. Ashcroft was standing by the hospital bed. Mr. Ashcroft was lying down in the bed. The room was darkened.
Oh, John Ashcroft.
And I immediately began speaking to him, trying to orient him as to time and place, and try to see if he could focus on what was happening. And it wasn't clear to me that he could. He seemed pretty bad off. I went out in the hallway, spoke to Director Mueller by phone. He was on his way. I handed the phone to the head of the security detail, and Director Mueller instructed the FBI agents present not to allow me to be removed from the room under any circumstances. And I went back in the room. It was only a matter of minutes that the door opened and in walked Mr. Gonzales carrying an envelope and Mr. Card. They came over and stood by the bed, greeted the Attorney General very briefly, and then Mr. Gonzales began to discuss why they were there, seek his approval for a matter. Attorney General Ashcroft then stunned me. He lifted his head off the pillow and in very strong terms expressed his view of the matter, rich in both substance and fact, which stunned me, drawn from the hour-long meeting we'd had a week earlier, and in very strong terms expressed himself, and then laid his head back down on the pillow, seemed spent, and said to them, "But that doesn't matter because I'm not the Attorney General." The two men did not acknowledge me. They turned and walked from the room.
Mueller ordered FBI agents to stop the Secret Service if they even tried to remove Comey from the hospital room. Quite the standoff. And Comey testified he and Mueller were going to resign rather than agree to any illegal surveillance of Americans.
I prepared a letter of resignation, intending to resign the next day, Friday, March the 12th.
As I understand it, you believe that others were also prepared to resign, not just you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, was one of those Director Mueller?
I believe so. You'd have to ask him, but I believe so.
You had conversations with him about it?
Yes.
President Bush did make those changes to the program later that week under the pressure, so Mueller and Comey did not resign. The whole situation not revealed until years later. Unlike Jim Comey, Mueller has never publicly discussed the episode in any detail. He was questioned about it once at a House hearing, and he showed his trademark restraint.
Were you surprised when you received the phone call from Mr. Comey indicating there was going to be this visit to Mr. Ashcroft by Gonzales and Carr?
It was out of the ordinary.
Tell me why you decided to make notes of your conversation with Mr. Ashcroft.
It was out of the ordinary.
What was out of the ordinary, Mr. Mueller?
Being asked to go to the hospital and be present at that time.
It was out of the ordinary. I'm joined now by Ron Hoskow, former Assistant FBI Director, who was appointed by Mueller to the Criminal Division, and back with me, Malcolm Nance. Ron, how out of the ordinary was it? What does it say about Bob Mueller? And finally, on a smaller point, contrast the rather full-throated description by Comey under oath, his style, to Bob Mueller, who, if you didn't know the backstory, that moment in that hearing might blow right by you because he didn't aggrandize at all.
I think it was completely extraordinary. We're talking about a very sensitive collection program by NSA that Jim Comey believed did not have the legal basis to continue. And you have a former Deputy Attorney General preparing to resign from office, certainly triggering basis at the highest levels of government, particularly if he takes Bob Mueller with him or Mueller independently decides to go. And, oh, by the way, it's reported that the current director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, was also contemplating retiring or resigning his position as the then Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division. So it certainly would have triggered an inquiry, intense media focus at the time.
And then contrast the styles there.
Yeah, I think, look, Jim Comey, we've seen is, really in ways a great storyteller. Very compelling in the way he delivers a speech, the way he measures every word. And by contrast, Bob Mueller is very circumspect. Maybe because he hasn't been put in the exact same role that Jim Comey was a year ago and more recently. But Bob Mueller is very, very guarded, circumspect in his public statements. Prefers to let the FBI's work talk for the FBI. Fits of, hey, look at me. Look how great I am. Look how great the organization is, or the organization I lead. He's very, very guarded and circumspect. He's a dedicated, steely-jawed public servant.
Well, and Malcolm Nance, we talk sometimes on the beat about the laws of power, but one of the laws of power is win through action, not argument. Bob Mueller has won a lot within a standard of integrity, according to his colleagues, but not by talking about it.
No, not at all. And let me tell you, I've said this many times. I thought over the last year we were having a crisis of honor in this nation. And even during that period, during the Bush administration with the illegal warrantless wiretapping, that we were really going down a bad road. Bob Mueller and Jim Comey have both proven to be shields to this nation and the highest pinnacle of honor when it mattered. And they took action. They didn't talk. They didn't, go and badmouth people or send out tweets about them. They are doing that now. I mean, Comey is going to end up a witness in this trial, in whatever comes out of this.
In what it is, we don't know what it was.
Right, we don't know what capacity, but at some point they're going to sit him down. They're going to ask him what went on. Mueller and him know each other, and they know the law, and they know that that is what must be held up above all.
And so, Ron, the final thought for our viewers who are learning about this man who acts without being in the spotlight. What did you learn being around him in law enforcement and under some of his oversight that people may not know?
Well, first, Bob Mueller was very much shaped by 9/11. He took the position just weeks before 9/11. It shaped him. It shaped the organization. It shaped those of us inside the organization. And, Bob Mueller uniquely was given the tasking by President Bush. His was not to answer who were the 9/11 attackers. It's how do you prevent, what are you doing, Bob Mueller, the FBI, to prevent the next attack? Look, that's going to leave a mark on you. And we saw it exemplified every day in senior level briefings where he was drilling down and being the prosecutor in charge, asking the counterterrorism folks, what are we doing about this next threat? And cross-examining them every morning. He was focused. Bob Mueller is intense. Bob Mueller is driven by the mission, by what we must do as an organization to stop that next threat. It was, very much Bob Mueller on the attack. There was no easy day with Bob Mueller.
It's so fascinating what you say. And the FBI played different roles throughout history. It's at times where it was focused on the crime families, the mafia, tech, hacking has been a recent focus. As you say, no wider shift in its focus than that terrible day on September 11th and Mueller being the man in charge, Ron Hosco and Malcolm Nance. It is a fitting setup to where we're going to go after the break. How Bob Mueller confronted this terror threat, and why the man who was briefing the president every day is not going to be scared off by tweets when there was special security in place to protect his life. And we look at President Trump's claims that Mueller team might be biased.
Women of the FBI join the nation in expressing our deep sympathies for the victims of these horrific tragedies and their families. We will leave no stone unturned in our quest to help find those responsible and to bring those individuals to justice.
Bob Mueller there after 9/11, he was was sworn as FBI director days after the attacks formally. From then on, the fight against Al-Qaeda transformed the FBI and him.
In the wake of September 11th, it became crystal clear that the FBI needed to change even more than had been anticipated. Immediately following September 11th, the FBI's #1 priority became the prevention of terrorist attacks.
Mueller in charge of tracking those threats. As Tim Weiner reports, every day for the 3 years after 9/11, he'd rise before dawn, read through overnight reports of threats, arrive at headquarters for the 7 a.m. counter-terror briefing, confer with the AG at 7:30, and travel in an armored limousine to the White House to talk to the president at 8:30. Mueller wasn't personally immune to the threats either. A biographer notes that mere days after 9/11, FBI agents swept down on the Muellers at home and moved them to officers' quarters at the Navy Yard because of a viable threat of Bob Mueller's life. Let's be clear, that is what Mueller already dealt with on a daily basis, focusing on the threats to the nation while putting aside threats to his own life. Tweets are not going to scare this man. I want to bring in now
Yes,
how
indeed.
this man does his job and how terror affected him.
For 12 years,
Say it again louder.
ran the FBI.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Before September 11th until
Bob
September
Mueller is
2013,
badass.
when Jim Comey took over. In those
Get
12
fucked who
years,
you are.
the FBI went from a chaotically organized agency where the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. The FBI couldn't talk to the CIA. The FBI often couldn't talk to
Like my
itself.
stepdad in a
Into,
suit.
for the first time in its more than 100-year history, an agency that
only ever
serves as
sent
an
pictures of.
intelligence service under law.
Under law. Let's pause on the point you
It's like a
raised
smart
of
phone.
what he
You always
inherited.
hear about
My colleague, NBC Chief Justice Correspondent Pete Williams, was reporting on this. On that day, we pulled this down there in 2001 about what the Bureau looked like.
If Robert Mueller gets the job, the first thing he will encounter here is lots of advice from at least 4 separate investigations, all looking at how to make the FBI better.
The FBI under more scrutiny than ever. Separate investigations, one led by former FBI Director Webster of the embarrassing and damaging Robert Hansen spy case. A Justice Department examination of the FBI foul-up and turning over McVeigh documents. And a top-to-bottom review of the FBI's mission and management ordered by the Attorney General.
That's what was perceived as what was wrong with the FBI. How did Mueller make it right?
Well, that was the half of it. In the weeks after 9/11, the FBI rounded up 1,200 people, none of whom belonged to Al-Qaeda. Some of them were treated very harshly. The FBI's internal communication systems were a wreck.
So what did he do?
Over the course of 2 years, with tremendous turnover, the average counterterrorism director at the FBI lasted less than a year. Gradually, Mueller righted the ship and got it to steer in the direction of, we can't just investigate crimes after they happen. We have to serve legally as an intelligence service, and we have to not only combat the war on terror, but at the same time protect our civil liberties. And that balancing act was very hard.
Was he better situated to handle the intel, given the military background he has?
Very much so. Marine officers tend to make very good FBI directors. If you're a Marine commanding troops, as Mueller was, and you send your troops up the hill, you go up the hill.
Yeah.
So for 12 years, Mueller went up the hill, and people followed him.
FBI historian Tim Weiner, thanks for joining our special. You bring a lot of context. I appreciate it. You bet. Still ahead, who is on Mueller's Russia team and what are they doing? That's next.
He's very, very good friends with Comey, which is very bothersome, but he's also, we're going to have to see, we're going to have to see in terms, look, there has been no obstruction, there has been no collusion, there has been leaking by Comey, but there's been no collusion, no obstruction, and virtually everybody agrees to that. So we'll have to see. I can say that the people that have been hired are all Hillary Clinton supporters.
Not quite. Out of the 13 publicly confirmed attorneys on Bob Mueller's team, about 8 have made donations to Democratic candidates, and 5 did make contributions to Hillary Clinton, totaling $54,000 altogether. But the real question is whether campaign contributions have typically been evidence of bias. DOJ regulations say no, and they don't prohibit Mueller from discriminating against people. In other words, he has to include people regardless of their past political processes or views. Donation history is not the issue. Now, there's a claim that people on Mueller's team work for Hillary Clinton, and that is completely false. One did work as a lawyer for the Clinton Foundation at a law firm, and another has represented, we should note, a former Hillary Clinton aide who helped manage the private email server. Trump defenders also say conflict of interest rules would bar Mueller from investigating any matters regarding Manafort, Kushner, or Ivanka Trump because of Mueller's law firm. Wilbur Hale previously has represented them, but that firm tells the Washington Post that Mueller was never involved in that case or any client regarding the Russia inquiry. Then there's a DOJ conflicts check that has also cleared Mueller and his attorneys to this case. So it may be ironic that a president who himself isn't divesting from businesses is saying those kind of things are conflicts for other people. In fact, he tweeted, "This is the single greatest witch hunt in political history, led by, again, that word, conflicted people." Now, Trump's attorneys reportedly have been trying to build some kind of public case against Mueller, claiming, in part, that these conflicts are a problem. As a legal matter, we can tell you if they were able to persuade Rod Rosenstein there, the Deputy Attorney General, that actual conflicts exist, the DOJ regulations could kick in. But, as this story shows, most of those conflicts do not rise to the level of anything under the rules. You are allowed to vote, and you are allowed to make political contributions. Now, thanks for watching our special. I will see you back here tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Hardball starts right now.
If it's Monday, summer is winding down, but Washington is heating up. Welcome to MTV Daily and a special Labor Day edition of it. Today marks the unofficial end of summer, and that means kids are going back to school everywhere, and Congress is coming back to Washington. And it also marks the end of what was a cruel, cruel summer politically for President Trump, and one that could set him up for a pretty complicated fall. First and foremost, Hurricane Harvey. This August, we saw one of the worst natural disasters in American history, the most rain to ever fall in the continental United States, causing catastrophic damage to one of the biggest cities in the country. The disaster is going to test this president, all of Washington, frankly, and it will cast a huge shadow over everything to come this fall. And that's not all this president had to weather this summer. Remember when we told you this? And I'm obsessed with the idea that August is a slow news month. No, wrong. August is the month where presidents' dreams go to die. Well, we hate to say we told you so, but we told you so in this one. History has proven once again, and again, that Augusts can be tough on a commander-in-chief. Think Tea Party protests, Katrina, well, there was Nixon's resignation. August proved to be downright terrible for President Trump. Arguably, one of the worst Augusts for any president in a generation. Even before Harvey hit, this was it.
Okay, so my wife and my oldest daughter are telling me that I look pale because I'm in so much pain with my back, so I apparently have to end the live stream now. And I guess it looks like he's feeling better. I just need to keep up with the top off and keep the salinity nice and low for him. He's not ready to go into high salinity yet, apparently. So if y'all see him hanging out up at the surface like that, that's his osmotic shock kicking back in, and we need to make sure the top off is dripping faster, and we'll be fine. But anyways, thanks everybody who was watching and commenting and hanging out, and I apparently have to go lay down now. I've been ordered to vacate. Y'all have a good one. Click the like button and make sure you subscribe. Peace.
I see the sun out of rain. there with you.